Like baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, Chevy is an American favorite. Test drive America's largest family of small cars. Nobody has a lineup like Chevrolet. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by the Gulf Oil Corporation, who suggests that you combine your trips and use carpools whenever possible. It'll help save gasoline. Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Houston Astros baseball on the Astros Television Network. As today, the Astros take on the Cincinnati Reds from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gene Elston, thanking you for being with us on the Astros Television Network. The third game of a four-game series between the Astros and the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati has won the first two games of this four-game series to regain first place in the National League's Western Division. Coming into today's play, Cincinnati has a half-game lead on both the San Francisco Giants and the Houston Astros. Starting lineups today for the Astros, leading off and playing at second base is Joe Morgan. Jimmy Wynn will hit second and play in right field. Cesar Cedeno hits third and plays in center. Doug Rader's in the cleanup spot today. He'll be at third base. John Mayberry will bat fifth and play at first. Jesus Alou is the left fielder. He'll hit sixth. Kurt Bleffery is behind the plate. He'll bat seventh. Frank Duffy is the shortstop hitting eighth. And Ken Forsch is on the mound batting ninth. Morgan second, Wynn right, Cedeno center. Rader third, Mayberry first, Alou left. Bleffery catching, Duffy short, and Ken Forsch is on the mound for the Astros. For the Cincinnati Reds, Ralph Garr will lead things off and play in center field. Pete Rose is in right field, batting second. The catcher, Johnny Bench, will hit third. Lee May is the cleanup man at first base. Tony Perez will hit fifth and play at third base. Tommy Helms is at second base hitting sixth. Ernie Carbo will bat seventh and play in left field. A.B. Concepcion will bat eighth and is at shortstop. And on the mound, left-hander Jim Merritt. Garr center, Rose right, Bench catching. May first, Perez third, Helms second, Carbo left, Concepcion center, and Merritt on the mound. Merritt with a 4-3 record so far this year, 3.10 ERA. He has struck out 42 and walked 13 and 69 and two-thirds innings. Well, Joe Morgan standing in. It is a partly cloudy day here at Riverfront Stadium, 65 degrees, the wind blowing out to center field at 9 miles an hour. As the Astros and the Reds are ready to go. Here's Joe Morgan, a .324 average on the year, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. He has been on base at a .437 clip and having another outstanding year. We're set to go from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. A little roller. The third baseman, Perez, got a charge in. He won't have a chance, and that's an infield hit for Morgan to lead off the ballgame for the Astros. That'll bring up Jimmy Wynn, who's hitting at .208, 4 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Last year, Jimmy a .250 average with 24 homers and 85 runs batted in, and he really came on strong in the second half of the season. High pop in foul territory. The first baseman going over by the dugout. That is May for out number one. Well, Wynn fouls out to first, and here's Cesar Cedeno. Cedeno's hitting .384, 6 home runs, 41 RBIs, also has 8 steals. The Astros' top 3 are all base-stealing threats. Morgan at first with 18 stolen bases to lead the club. Runner at first and 1 out. Here at the top of the first. There's a high fly ball into right field, but Rose is back in front of the warning track. He'll make the catch for out number 2. Morgan goes back to first on the fly out by Cedeno to right field, and here's Doug Rader. Rader coming in a .259 batting average, 5 home runs and 25 runs batted in. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. So, the Astros, no runs, an infield single by Morgan, but he's left stranded. On to the bottom half of the first inning, the Astros nothing, and Cincinnati coming to bat. Here's the defense for the Astros today. Jesus Alou is in left field, Cesar Cedeno in center, and Jimmy Wynn in right. Doug Rader at third, Frank Duffy, the shortstop, Joe Morgan at second, and John Mayberry at first. Kurt Bleffery is behind the plate. And on the mound, Ken Forsch, who's having an outstanding season so far in 1971, an 8-2 record with a 2.08 ERA. He has struck out 53 and walked 23 in 86 and a third innings. He'll face Ralph Garr to lead things off. Garr coming in with a .350 batting average, 4 home runs, and 26 runs batted in.
Ken Forsch.
There's a high fly ball in the left field and a diving catch out there on the warning track by Jesus Alou. He just robbed Ralph Garr of extra bases. Fine play by Alou for out number 1. And I'll bring up Pete Rose. Rose with a .308 average, 6 home runs, 26 RBIs.
Number 14, Pete Rose.
High fly ball in the left field. Alou is there. He'll make the catch for out number 2. Well, here's Johnny Bench, a .309 batting average, 3 homers, 14 RBIs, .393 on base percentage.
The catcher, number 5, Johnny Bench.
A fly ball in the shallow right field. Wind comes and makes the catch, and that retires the side. So for Cincinnati in the first, 3 up, 3 down is 3 fly ball outs for Ken Forsch. And at the end of 1, there's no score. John Mayberry will lead off the second inning for the Astros against Jim Merritt. Mayberry hitting at .236. He does have 8 home runs with 23 runs batted in. And he has a .326 on-base average. .822 on-base percentage plus slugging. He sends a high fly ball into left center field. Center fielder's coming over and makes the play. Garr calls off Carbo for out number 1. And that'll bring up Jesus Alou. Alou batting .305 with 2 home runs and 16 runs batted in. There's a liner and right at Lee May. Fine play by May at first for out number 2. That'll bring up Kurt Bleffery, who's hitting .221 with 4 home runs and 16 runs batted in. High fly ball into right field, drifting over near the line is Rose. That retires the side. So the Astros are up and down in order in the second. Last half of the second coming up, and there's no score. Lee May will lead things off for the Reds in the bottom of the second. Lee with a .218 batting average. He doesn't walk a lot with a .253 on-base percentage. He's got 14 home runs and 34 runs batted in.
Number 23, Lee May.
And he slams one into the corner in left field for extra bases. Alou's going to chase it down, but May has a leadoff double here in the second for the Reds. That's the first Cincinnati base runner of the afternoon. And then I'll bring up Tony Perez with a .297 batting average, 9 home runs and 34 runs batted in.
Number 24, Tony Perez.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out for out number 1. And I'll bring up Tommy Helms, who's hitting .276 with a homer and 15 runs batted in.
Number 19, Tommy Helms.
A liner out in the right center field, but Cedeno will make the catch. And back to second goes Lee May, so 2 away. That'll bring up Bernie Carbo, who's off to a slow start, .160 batting average. No homers, 12 runs batted in. He does walk a lot, though, because he's got a .309 on-base percentage.
Number 25, Bernie Carbo.
There's a ground ball to second. Morgan's got it. The throw to first in time, and the side retired. Well, for Cincinnati in the second, no runs. They get a leadoff double, but leave Lee May stranded at second base. At the end of 2, no score. Frank Duffy will lead off the third inning for the Astros. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 spots for Houston. Frank Duffy, Ken Forsch, and Joe Morgan. Duffy with a .159 batting average, 3 home runs and 13 runs batted in. High fly ball to right field. Pete Rose is going back onto the warning track. He'll make the catch for out number 1. Well, Duffy drove that ball pretty well, but Rose was right there the whole time for out number 1. Here's Ken Forsch, who's a good hitting pitcher. A .214 batting average. He has 6 hits and 28 at-bats so far this season. He takes a called strike 3 on the outside corner for out number 2. That's the second strikeout for Merritt, and that'll bring up Joe Morgan. Morgan had an infield single in the first, but was left stranded. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the side retired. Well, the Astros go down in order in the top half of the third. We head to the bottom of the third, no score. Davey Concepcion will lead things off for Cincinnati in the bottom of the third. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Reds. Davey Concepcion, Jim Merritt, then back to the top of the order, and Ralph Garr. Concepcion, a .207 batting average with no homers and 11.
Number 13, Dave Concepcion.
A liner into center field, but a diving catch by Cesar Cedeno for out number 1. Fine play by Cedeno to rob Concepcion of a base hit. So one down, here's Jim Merritt, who is hitting 167 on the season, no homers and a run batted in, 4 for 24. Swinging a tapper to second base. Morgan bobbles it and is not going to get him. It'll be an error on Joe Morgan. That's his 7th error of the year, and the Reds have a runner at first with one down here in the bottom of the third. Here's Ralph Garr, who's 0 for 1. A little flare into right field for a base hit. Wynn gets it, and stopping at second is Merritt, but the Reds now have business first and second with one down here in the last of the third. That'll bring up Pete Rose as 0 for 1.
Number 14, Pete Rose.
Grounder back to the pitcher Forsch. He goes to second for 1. That's all they'll get. Oh, it's a 1-6 on the fielder's choice. Frank Duffy was shaken up a little bit on that play, but he appears to be all right. Well, 2 down. The runners are at the corners with 2 down for Johnny Bench, who's 0 for 1.
The catcher, number 5, Johnny Bench.
A high fly ball into center field. Cedeno coming on. He'll make the catch, and the side retired. So the Reds get a hit and an error. They leave a man stranded, and at the end of 3, there's no score. Well, the Astros are in the middle of a 14-game road trip. It will span 2 weeks in 4 cities. Next Sunday, we will be with you on the Astros television network from Pittsburgh as the Astros take on the Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. Well, you'll make sure and tune in for that one on the Astros television network. Here's some scores from around the majors today. Kansas City and Washington scoreless on the top of the 4th. Oakland is leading at Fenway Park. Boston 4-0 in the top of the 3rd. The Pirates lead the Cubs 1-0 at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 3rd. Baltimore at Minnesota later today. Detroit at Milwaukee at County Stadium a little later on today. Atlanta will visit St. Louis. Pat Jarvis against Bob Gibson for the Cardinals. Cleveland will be at Chicago. Tom Phoebus against Wilbur Wood later this afternoon on the West Coast. The Mets are at San Diego. Philadelphia is at Los Angeles. Woody Fryman against Mel Stottlemyre. San Francisco leads Montreal 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th and the first of a doubleheader there. At Yankee Stadium, the Angels and Yankees are tied at 1 apiece in the top of the 3rd. Jimmy Wynn will lead things off here in the 4th for the Astros. He's 0 for 1. And a liner into right field, and that'll be for extra bases into the corner. Wynn has got himself a double after sliding in safely at second base to lead off the 4th inning. That's the second hit of the ball game for the Astros. And I'll bring up Cesar Cedeno, 0 for 1. Grounder to second base. The throw is in time for out number 1, so Helms retires Cedeno, but heading over to third is Wynn, and there's one away. And I'll bring up Doug Rader. He's 0 for 1. Ground ball is short. Concepcion has it, throws to first for out number 2. Coming across to score is Wynn, and the Astros lead it 1-0. So 2 down, nobody on, and here's John Mayberry, who's 0 for 1. Grounder to first base. May's got it. He'll take it to the bag himself on the side retired. But the Astros get a leadoff double by Jimmy Wynn. He comes around to score on a couple of groundouts. Nobody left on base and no errors. At the end of 3.5, it's the Astros 1 and the Reds 0. Lee May will lead off the bottom of the 4th for Cincinnati. He's 1 for 1.
Number 23, Lee May.
A high fly ball into left center field coming on is Cedeno. He will call off Alou and make the catch for out number 1. Here's Tony Perez.
Number 24, Tony Perez.
A high fly ball into right center field. Wynn is drifting over. He'll call off Cedeno and make the catch for out number 2. So 2 down, and here's Tommy Helms, who's
Number 19, Tommy Helms.
a fly ball to center field. Cedeno's there. He'll make the catch, and it's an easy 1-2-3 for Ken Forsch in the fourth inning. So at the end of 4, it's the Astros 1 and Cincinnati nothing. Once again, want to thank our fine affiliates on the Astros television network here today watching. Of course, our flagship KPRC, Channel 2 in Houston. They're also watching us today in Fort Worth, Dallas, KTVT, Channel 11. And also in Lake Charles, Louisiana, KPLC, Channel 7. Thank you for all of our affiliates on the Astros television network. We'll be with you again next Sunday afternoon from Pittsburgh as the Astros take on the Pittsburgh Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. Airtime will be 1 o'clock. First pitch will be 1:05. We hope you'll join us for that. Jesus Alou will lead off the fifth for the Astros. He's 0 for 1. A fly ball into right field. Pete Rose going over near the line. He's going to make the catch, and there's one away. I'll bring up Kurt Bleffery. He's 0 for 1. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Oh, that's the fourth strikeout for Merritt. 2 down. And that brings up Frank Duffy. He's 0 for 1. A high fly ball in the left field. Bernie Carbo coming in. He will make the catch. And it's an easy 1-2-3 for Jim Merritt against the Astros here in the top of the fifth. So we're halfway home. The Astros 1 and Cincinnati nothing. Bernie Carbo will lead off the bottom of the fifth inning for Cincinnati, the bottom third of the Reds order. Carbo, Concepcion, and the pitcher Jim Merritt against Ken Forsch, who has gone 4 innings so far, has only allowed 2 hits, not walked anyone, struck out 1.
Number 25, Bernie Carbo.
Carbo leads it off, a liner into left center field for a base hit. So the Astros had him shaded to pull, and yet he still hit one to the opposite way into left center. A leadoff single for the Reds. That's their third hit of the ball game. So a runner at first, nobody out. Here's Davey Concepcion, who's 0 for 1. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That's the second strikeout for Forsch, and there's 1 down. Here's Jim Merritt, who's 0 for 1, probably bunting in this situation. He gets it down. The first baseman will hit and throw over to Morgan covering at second. Good job by Mayberry. 3-4 on the sacrifice. Moving on to second base is Carbo, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position at second with 2 down for Ralph Garr. Garr is 1 for 2. A slow roller in front of Doug Rader. The throw's not going to be in time. That's an infield hit. And the Reds now have men on the corners with 2 down. That's the 4th Cincinnati hit and the second one today for Garr. Men on the corners, 2 down, and here's Pete Rose, who's 0 for 2. Ground ball to second. Morgan's got it. The throw to first in time, and the side retired. So the Reds, no runs. They get a couple of hits, but leave both men stranded. And at the end of 5, it's the Astros 1 and the Reds nothing. It'll be the 9, 1, and 2 spots for the Astros to lead off the 6th inning. It'll be Ken Forsch, followed by Joe Morgan and Jimmy Wynn. Just a reminder, you can always get tickets to any Astros game. Box seat tickets are $4, reserve seats $3, general admission $150. And those go on sale the date of the game only unless other tickets are sold out. And children's pavilion seats are 50 cents. Every Sunday is Family Day, with children 14 and under receiving a $1 reduction on all tickets. And every Wednesday is Ladies' Night, with all ladies receiving a $1 off on all tickets. Now, here's how you get them. You go to the Astrodome ticket office, open 9 to 5 every day, or at the Foley's department stores in Houston, downtown, Sharpstown, Pasadena, Alameda, Genoa Road, and Northwest. You can also pick up Astros tickets at the Houston Citizens Bank and Trust, Main at Jefferson, Houston, or by mail. Send check or money order to Tickets, Houston Astros, P.O. Box 1691, Houston. Let us know the date of the game, the type of ticket you need, and how many, and please enclose 25 cents for postage and handling. Oh, we go to the top of the 6th. There's no score, and here's 1-0 Astros, I beg your pardon, and here's Ken Forsch. Look at a miss, he struck him out. Now that's the 5th strikeout for Jim Merritt, who has only allowed 2 hits and 1 run in 5 1/3 innings to this point. 1 down, finds himself trailing 1-0, however. Here's Joe Morgan, who's 1 for 2. Morgan sends one to left center field, but a diving catch by Bernie Carbo in left field to rob Morgan of a base hit and possibly extra bases. 2 down, and here's Jimmy Wynn. Wynn doubled his last time up, came around to score on a pair of groundouts, and that's the only run of the ball game so far. He's 1 for 2. High pop-up on the infield. May will be the second baseman that was making the play, Tommy Helms, and that retires the side. So the Astros are up and down in order in the 6th. Cincinnati comes to bat in the last half of the 6th, trailing the Astros 1-0. Johnny Bench will lead things off in the bottom of the 6th for Cincinnati. He's 0 for 2.
The catcher, number 5, Johnny Bench.
A high fly ball in the left center field. Cedeno will make the catch for out number 1. 1 down, and here's Lee May, who's 1 for 2. He doubled. His last time up was left stranded.
Number 23, Lee May.
He sends one back up the middle and a base hit. That's the 5th Cincinnati hit and the 2nd of the day for May. Ralph Garr and Lee May each have 2 hits for 4 of the 5 Cincinnati hits. And the Reds have a runner at first with 1 down for Tony Perez, who's 0 for 2. Called strike 3 on a changeup for out number 2. That's the 3rd strikeout by Forsch as he freezes Tony Perez. There's 2 down, and here's Tommy Helms, who's 0 for 2. Ground ball back to Forsch. He goes to first on the side, retired. So the Reds get a hit. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left. At the end of 6, it's the Astros 1 and Cincinnati 0. Bayside Cedeno lead off the 7th for the Astros. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters, Cedeno, Rader, and Mayberry. For the Astros against Jim Merritt, who's only given up 2 hits in 6 innings. He's not walked anyone, has struck out 5, but he trails the Astros 1-0. Cedeno leads it off. Grounder back to Merritt. He goes to first, and the ball gets away from the first baseman, May, and Cedeno will get the second. That'll be an error, and that's the first Cincinnati error of the afternoon, second error of the ball game of the first against the Reds. And the error will be charged to Merritt on the throw. Well, the Astros now with a runner at second, nobody out for Doug Rader, who's 0 for 2 with an RBI groundout, the only run of the game. And they will intentionally walk Rader. And their runners at first and second with nobody out for John Mayberry, who's 0 for 2. Merritt still with a low pitch count at 68 pitches to this point. There's a high fly ball into deep right center field, and that ball, and it's a 3-run homer for John Mayberry. And the Astros now lead it 4-0. So the error from Merritt really comes back to haunt him. As following the intentional walk, the Reds were going for the platoon advantage, lefty versus lefty. And John Mayberry said to heck with that. He hit a 3-run homer to right center field. And the Astros now lead it 4-0. Here's Jesus Alou, who's 0 for 2. Swinging a high fly ball into left field. Garbo coming on. He'll make the catch for out number 1. Here's Kurt Bleffery, who's 0 for 2. Another fly ball into left field. Garbo coming on. In shallow left center makes the catch for out number 2. Here's Frank Duffy. He's 0 for 2. A fly ball into right center field. Drifting over is the center fielder Garr. But the Astros have quite the inning. They get 3 runs on 1 hit, 1 error, 1 intentional walk, and nobody left on base. 7th inning stretch time here at Riverfront Stadium. It's the Astros 4 and Cincinnati 0. Well, bottom half of the 7th, and the Astros leading the Cincinnati Reds 4-0. Just a reminder, next Sunday afternoon we'll be back on the air on Astros television as the Astros visit the Pittsburgh Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. Airtime will be 1 o'clock and first pitch will be 1:05. Well, the Astros leading at 4-0, 7, 8, 9 spots up for Cincinnati. Bernie Carbo, Davey Concepcion, and Jim Merritt scheduled to hit. We'll see if he stays in the ball game down 4-0. Forsch is at 74 pitches right now, so he may be able to keep going as long as he stays low. A high fly into shallow right field. Coming on is Jimmy Wynn. He'll make the catch in short right for out number 1. Here's Davey Concepcion. He's 0 for 2. Sharp grounder to third. Raiders got it. The throw to first in time for out number 2. And Merritt's going to bat for himself, which is curious. So he's down 4-0, but with nobody on and 2 outs, they're going to let...
Number 30, Jim Merritt.
A grounder into right center field for a base hit, just past the reach of Joe Morgan. And Jim Merritt has a base hit. That's the 6th Cincinnati hit. They have out-hit the Astros 6-3, but Houston leading it 4-0. Here's Ralph Garr, who's 2 for 3 today. Sharp grounder to first. Mayberry's going to take it himself and beat Garr to the bag, and the side retired. So for Cincinnati in the 7th, no runs, a hit, no errors, a man left. At the end of 7, it's the Astros 4 and Cincinnati nothing. Oh, Ken Forsch will bat for himself to lead off the 8th inning. It's the 9-1-2 spots for the Astros. Forsch, Morgan, and Jimmy Wynn. Forsch is 0 for 2. They're going to miss. He struck him out. That's the 6th strikeout for Jim Merritt. 1 down. Here's Joe Morgan, who's 1 for 3. Sharp grounder to third. Perez has it. Throws to first for out number 2. And that'll bring up Jimmy Wynn, who's 1 for 3. Slow roller to short. Knocked down by Concepcion. The bad throw, though, and Wynn will reach base. That's the 4th error of the year for Concepcion and the 2nd error for Cincinnati this afternoon. So the Astros now with a runner at first, 2 down for Cesar Cedeno, who's 0 for 3. Slow roller to Concepcion at short. He'll go to first in time to retire the side. Off for the Astros in the 8th. No runs, no hits, an error, but a man left on base. Moving to the bottom half of the 8th inning, it's the Astros 4 and Cincinnati nothing. Pete Rose will lead it off for the Reds in the bottom half of the 8th inning. The 2, 3, and 4 spots for Cincinnati. Rose, bench, and May against Ken Forsch, who has given up 6 hits but has not walked anyone or allowed a run while striking out 3 in 7 innings.
Number 14, Pete Rose.
Ground ball to second base. Morgan's got it, and the throw's in time for out number 1. Here's Johnny Bench, who is also over.
The catcher, number 5, Johnny Bench.
A slow roller to Mayberry, who bobbles it, and Bench is going to reach base. That'll be an error on Mayberry, and that's the 2nd error against the Astros today. So runner at first, 1 down, and here's Lee May, who's 2 for 3. High fly ball into center field. Cedeno coming on, and he bobbled it out there in center field. And Bench is going to get the second, so back-to-back errors by the Astros, and they have 3 errors this afternoon. And now the Reds have runners at first and second with 1 down, and here's Tony Perez, who's 0 for 3. A liner right to Duffy for out number 2. 2 down, and here's Tommy Helms, who's 0 for 3. A little flare into left center field for a base hit. Bench is going to round third. He will score, and Cincinnati's on the board. On an RBI single by Tommy Helms, it's now 4-1, but the tying run now comes to the plate in Bernie Carbo, who's 1 for 3. Ground ball to second base. Morgan's got it. The throw to first is in time, and the side retired. So the Reds, they get a run on a base hit, 2 Astro errors, 2 men left on base. We'll head to the 9th inning. The Astros 4 and Cincinnati 1. Doug Rader will lead off the 9th inning for the Astros. It'll be the 4, 5, and 6 spots for Houston. Rader, Mayberry, and Alou. Rader's 0 for 2 with a run batted in today. Ground ball is short and through into center field for a base hit. Concepcion looked like he was going to get it. Couldn't quite get there, and it's a leadoff single for Doug Rader. That's just the 4th Astro hit this afternoon. Here's John Mayberry, who has one of those other 3 hits. The big blow in this game, the difference, a 3-run homer in the 7th to right center field. And he lines one into right field for a base hit. Rader's going to make the turn, head to third. The throw, not in time. And the Astros are in business with runners on the corners and nobody out. And the Reds will bring the infield in against Clay Carroll. Jim Merritt out after going 8 innings, giving up 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 of those earned. He struck out 6 and walked 1. Gave up the big 3-run homer to John Mayberry. Runners on the corners, nobody out here. Jesus Alou 0 for 3 today. Grounder right to first. Runner at third has May goes to first. Steps on the bag himself for out number 1. Heading over to second is Mayberry. And the Astros now with runners at second and third, 1 down. They bring the infield in again to face Kurt Bleffery. We'll see if they pitch to him. He's 0 for 3. And they will intentionally walk Bleffery to load the bases. So bases are loaded, 1 out. The Reds bring the infield in. And Frank Duffy's the batter. He's 0 for 3. And he's hit by the pitch and a run will score. And hit him in the right knee. And it's a painful RBI, and the Astros now lead it 5-1. And now Jim Holt will pinch hit for Ken Forsch. Reds with the infield back now, trying to get the double play. A high fly ball to right field. Rose is there. He makes the catch, and the runner at third will not go. Then out number 2. A big out there for the Reds. Here's Joe Morgan, who's 1 for 4. And he walked him. And Morgan will come across to score, and it's now 6-1 Astros. So Carroll has hit a man and walked a man with the bases loaded, and the Astros now lead it 6-1. Here's Jimmy Wynn, who's 1 for 4. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on the side, retired. Let the Astros get a pair of runs. We'll head to the bottom half of the 9th inning. The Astros 6 and the Reds 1. New pitcher for the Astros is Jim Ray. He's 2-1. The 3.80 ERA in 21 and a third innings of work. He's given up 24 hits. He has walked 11 and struck out 11. On the line on Ken Forsch this afternoon, you could close the book. Forsch went 8 innings, gave up 7 hits and 1 run, none of them earned. He struck out 3 and did not walk anyone. The line for Jim Merritt, 8 innings pitched. He gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 4 hits. Walked a man, struck out 6, gave up a costly 3-run homer to John Mayberry in the 7th. Clay Carroll goes an inning, gives up a hit and a run. It is earned. Walked 2 and struck out 1. So the Astros with a 6-1 lead. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 spots. Concepcion the pitcher spot, and then Ralph Garr. Concepcion 0 for 3 today. Ground ball to second base. Morgan's got it. And there's 1 down. Dennis Minke will be the pinch hitter for the Reds. Minke 8 for 23 on the young season, a .348 batting average, no homers and 5 RBIs. Ground ball to short. Duffy's got it. The throw to first, and there's 2 down. And I'll bring up Ralph Garr, who's had a good afternoon. He's 2 for 4. Ground ball to second, right to Morgan. That'll do it. Throw to first in time, and the Astros have beaten the Cincinnati Reds today by the final of 6-1. With that win, the Astros have moved back into first place, a half game ahead of the Cincinnati Reds with the 6-1 victory. Our player of the game will be John Mayberry, who had a big 3-run blast in the 7th inning to give the Astros some breathing room. Mayberry with his 9th home run of the year. And that gave Ken Forsch the cushion he needed to get the victory. Forsch now 9-2 on the year. In 8 innings, he gave up 1 run. It was not earned. 7 hits, did not walk any men, and struck out 3. Jim Merritt, the loser, he's now 4-4. Time of the ball game, 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 21,046 paid to see it here this afternoon at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Some other final scores from around the majors today. In the American League, Oakland defeated Boston 5-0. Blue Moon Odom got the victory for Oakland. He's now 3-4. Roger Moret, the loser, he's now 3-5. The Yankees got 5 runs in the 7th to beat California at home, 7-6. Lindy McDaniel got the victory. Keeley, the loser for California. Hamilton got his 4th save. Home runs in the contest. McLaughlin, his 2nd of the year, the pitcher doing damage for the Angels. And Johnson, his 9th home run of the year for the Yankees. 7-6, the Yankees win against California. The Senators beat Kansas City in 14 innings, 2-1. Gogolewski, that was the winner. Jim Rooker was the loser. No home runs in that one, but Washington beats Kansas City in 14, 2-1. The White Sox got 3 in the fourth and held on to beat Cleveland 4-2 at Comiskey Park. Wilbur Wood got the win. He's now 7-2. Phoebus taking the loss. Ray Fosse hit his 8th home run of the year, and Foster also with his 8th home run of the year for the Indians. Walt Williams got his 3rd homer of the year for the White Sox. Chicago wins it 4-2. Milwaukee beats Detroit 4-3 at County Stadium with a run in the 8th. Marty Patton got the win for Detroit. Sherman the loser, or got the win for Milwaukee. Sherman the loser for Detroit. Mike Marshall got his 10th save of the year. Norm Cash hit his 14th homer of the year, and Denny McClain his first for Detroit in the loss. Milwaukee beating Detroit 4-3. And Baltimore beat Minnesota 4-3. These two American League rivals who have been in the League Championship Series the 2 years that's been in existence. Jim Palmer got the win to stay unbeaten. He's 7-0. Jim Cott was the loser. He's 7-2. Eddie Watt got his 8th save. Bob Robertson hit his first home run of the year for Baltimore. Harmon Killebrew hit number 13 for Minnesota. The Orioles beating the Twins in Minnesota today, 4-3. Over in the National League, the Giants, with the doubleheader sweep of Montreal, and they won both games in shutout fashion to take over first place in the National League. I said the Astros were in first, but actually San Francisco a half game ahead of the Astros and now one up on Cincinnati. In game one, the Giants winning at 5-0. Gaylord Perry with a 5-hit shutout. He got the win. He's 8-2. Steve Rico, the loser, 3-8. Willie McCovey hit his 8th home run of the year. In the nightcap, the Giants winning at 7-0 as Ray Sadecki moved to 9-2. Bill Stoneman, the loser, he's 4-6. Ken Henderson had his 9th home run of the year for the Giants. At Pittsburgh, the Pirates got 2 in the 8th to rally past the Cubs 3-2. Doc Ellis, the winner, he's 4-3. Ted Abernathy continues to struggle. He's now 0-7, and Larry Stahl had his first home run of the year for the Cubs. But it was not enough as the Pirates beat the Cubs today at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh 3-2. St. Louis beat Atlanta 8-2 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Bob Gibson, the winner, he's now 9-2 for the Cardinals. Pat Jarvis, the loser, he's 3-3. Home runs in the game, Dave May had his 6th for Atlanta. Veda Pinson had his 6th, Joe Torre his 8th, and Jose Cruz his 6th for the Cardinals. St. Louis 8, Atlanta 2, the final there. The Dodgers beat Philadelphia 5-1 at Dodger Stadium. Frank Howard his 10th home run of the year for Los Angeles. Mel Stottlemyre the winner, and Woody Fryman the loser. Final Los Angeles 5, Philadelphia 1 at Dodger Stadium. And the Padres blanked the Mets 3-0 in San Diego. Clay Kirby got the victory. He's now 4-6. Jerry Kuzma the loser. He's now 6-3. Once again, the final score, the Padres 3 and the Mets 0. And once again, the final score here from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, the Astros 6 and the Cincinnati Reds 1. Ken Forsch, the winner, he's 9-2 now. Jim Merritt, the loser, he's 4-4. John Mayberry with the big blow, his 3-run homer in the 7th, gave Houston the cushion it needed. This is Mayberry's 9th of the year. Final score again, the Astros 6 and the Reds 1. We'll be back on the air on Astros television next Sunday afternoon from Pittsburgh at Three Rivers Stadium as the Astros visit the Pirates. Airtime will be 1 o'clock and first pitch 1:05. We hope you'll join us for that. I'm Gene Elston, thanking you for joining us this afternoon on Astros Baseball. So long, everybody.
Today's game was brought to you by Chevrolet. Like baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, Chevy is an American favorite. Test drive America's largest family of small cars. Nobody has a lineup like Chevrolet. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller Lite. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.